In the heart of our fields lies the future of agriculture, sustainable, innovative, and powered by smart solutions. From the rich soil of Africa to high-tech farms around the globe, agriculture is evolving to meet the demands of tomorrow. At the intersection of tradition and technology, we discover smarter ways to grow more, waste less, and harvest greener. Together, we are cultivating a future where every harvest sustains the earth and its people. Join us 9:30 a.m. Monday to Fridays on Aso TV, channel 392 DSTV, Star Times, channel 127, or YouTube live stream GSAI Initiative. Agriculture for today and tomorrow, as we share groundbreaking ideas, empowering farmers, and celebrate greener solutions. Together, let's grow the future.
Hello and welcome to today's episode of Agriculture for Today and Tomorrow. Here we promote smart solutions for greener harvest. I am Daniel Black, your host, and remember this is a Media for Agricultural Development project of GSAI, that's Growth for Sustainable Agriculture Initiative. That's an NGO that supports African farmers to adopt sustainable practices. Today we will be having a very interesting topic. There's so much clamor, there's so much crave for agriculture. Everybody's saying food, let's go into agriculture. Everybody's saying agriculture is the next goal and all of that. But have we taken into consideration the mental drain, the mental energy needed to go into the field of agriculture, where we provide food, where we nurture crops and livestock from tenderness to maturity, and then make sure food is available. As a farmer, when you sit and see how expensive food commodity has become, how do you feel? Let us find out if there is any correlation between the crisis going on in the agricultural space and the farmers producing the food. And we have an expert in the house to have that conversation with, having discussion, having understanding of how all these crises, how the challenges in the agricultural space actually it affects the farmer. Today to discuss this topic with us is Lucy E. Abeng. She is the founder and executive director, Mental Health for Youth Initiative. Lucy, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Lucy, for how long have I been trying to drag you on this show?
For the longest.
You wanted me to break down in mental health before you finally come.
No.
But my God has shamed you.
Thank you.
Viewers, meet Lucy Abeng, the founder and executive director of Mental Health for Youth Initiative. And today we'll be discussing confronting mental health crisis among youth in agriculture. And the question is there a mental health crisis among youth in agriculture? Would you like to know? What after the short break, and we'll get more details about that. Let's go for a break.
In the heart of our fields lies the future of agriculture, sustainable, innovative, and powered by smart solutions. From the rich soil of Africa to high-tech farms around the globe, agriculture is evolving to meet the demands of tomorrow. At the intersection of tradition and technology, we discover smarter ways to grow more, waste less, and harvest greener. Together, we are cultivating a future where every harvest sustains the earth and its people. Join us.
Welcome back from that short break. This is Agriculture for Today and Tomorrow, and we'll be discussing with Lucy Abeng, confronting the mental health crisis among youth in agriculture. Is there a mental health crisis? Lucy, please, is there a mental health crisis?
Okay, first, thank you for having me here. It's an honor to be on the show. When we say mental health, most people just, shy away from it. Every human being, so when you have your physical health, there's also the aspect of the mental health, which is basically your thoughts, how you think, your emotions, how you process things and all. So that's basically where your mental health is. And then there can be mental health issues arising from anything you do. As a student, stress can cause you mental stress. As a farmer, that is what we're talking about today. Very special.
Yes. And here we are talking about the crisis of mental health among youths in agriculture.
Yeah. So as a farmer, let's use young or the first issue here is, let's use the young people first. Most times when you think of agriculture, they're like, oh, it's usually they would rather be in rural areas for agriculture. And maybe the average young person would want to go to a city or, not be in the rural area. So first, them having to go back to the village or like the
migrate back to the rural setting.
Yeah, so there's that whole stigma of oh you're not doing clean work. All those things really discourage people. So first of all, when you're even going there to farm, the first issue is, do I even have the money for it? Yeah. And then say you have the money, with the insecurity that is happening, there are farmers who I can farm today, by harvest, what value is my product? So there's that issue of uncertainty. We
had a guest here that talked about how he started with 20 bets and lost 13 out of 20.
Oh my goodness.
So yes, I'm just buttressing your point.
Yeah, so with price of feeds and everything going up every day, you keep putting in so much. So you see there's a lot of stress financially that goes into that.
Of course.
And the fact that you're uncertain, my investment, will they yield the returns that I want that to happen? And then there's also now the case of insecurity.
Of course, yeah.
Because you see, that's part of one of the reasons why the price of food is going up, because farmers cannot go to the farms and get as much as they usually would.
There are lesser people farming.
Exactly. So all of these things have a toll on your mental health. How? Now, someone who has invested their last 1 million into poultry,
or borrowed 1 million,
borrowed 1 million. So let's use poultry and catfish.
I don't know why people like livestock more than crops. Well, anyway, go ahead. When I say people, I mean most of my guests prefer to use livestock examples.
Well, you probably get more lost, I think, from livestock more than...
Don't let the crop farmers catch you. But anyway, that means go ahead.
Using catfish, for example, you invest 1 million into catfish, and one little thing happens and you lose everything, thousands.
Yes.
How would you feel?
Please do not ask me to imagine that.
Do you get? So it would have, especially when the person is probably just starting, they don't have the right information, it would have a toll on you. You would feel sad probably for a long period of time. Someone can lose all of their investment, and that's depression. Now someone who is in the bush, the crop farmers, and they get attacked by bandits. For every time they want to go to the farm, they'll probably have this fear that, hope I'll
they
come
may be
back
attacked
alive.
again.
And just imagine someone going through that for the period of tilling till harvest, and the person, okay, after now I'm not going to do. But one way or the other, that's trauma of having to, am I going to die today? What's going to happen? That can actually have a mental toll on the farmer. So something called post-traumatic stress disorder, where you keep reliving what's happened before, a traumatic event that's happened before, even after it has happened. So you see, or even anxiety, where you just keep having irrational fears.
There's a whole lot of that going around.
Yeah, so where it comes to the state of the farmers and their mental health, there's a very big correlation. Since you were asking.
Yeah, thank you. And you've thrown a very serious light on this. You've brought it to the consciousness, and I'm sure that my viewers would accept that most of the things, of course in Nigeria we take a whole lot of things for granted, but when the way you've put it out, you've listed them out, some of the things that would really take a toll on the mental health of young people, or basically any farmer. So, but of course we have you have highlighted these, you've brought them out. So the question now is, what do we do? Is for the fear of having a mental health breakdown, should we not farm anymore? What would be, of course the topic here is confronting. So how do we confront this?
So first is being aware, which is what
we are trying to do here.
Exactly. So having that consciousness of that this thing is likely going to influence or affect my mental health. That awareness helps you to, manage the emotions. So first, as an individual, knowing that, okay, I'm feeling this way because this has happened before, and this is probably why I'm feeling this. So it's maybe a case of you trying to talk yourself into, okay, this has happened before. Times have changed, so maybe I should try and push past it. Or with information, you know that what I'm going through is more than myself. I need to speak to someone. I need to speak to a professional, or even someone I trust. Because most times when you share what you're feeling with someone else, sometimes even when you're speaking, it begins to make sense to you. Like, oh, so this is what's wrong. And then sometimes you just need a listening ear, someone who actually cares to listen. When you're able to speak to someone around you, that helps with the right information. I'm looking from the government and even NGOs perspective. It's really just when you're planning your initiatives for farmers and people in the rural area, it's good to just include the mental health components, because if someone is mentally sound, they're more productive.
Of course. And sorry, just hold that thought. From what you mentioned, I now notice that sometimes a farmer may fail for the first time. Most times, in fact, from your analysis, the second failure may be largely due to anxiety, largely due to mental health. Because he probably has not dealt through the trauma. He's so scared, and we know when you're scared of something, there's a high tendency for you to even fall into that thing again. So I'm seeing a whole lot of intervention units from what you're elucidating. So now you've talked about being aware, and you've talked about talking through some of these things, but you also understand that we have a large population of farmers who are, in quotes, illiterate, who are, in quotes, poor, and most times their basic focus is daily living, daily survival, how to survive. Now, in simple terms, or in a simple format, how can these farmers who wake up in the morning, they cannot help but think, how do we feed? How can these farmers, without being too complex, be mindful of their mental health? Information.
Yes.
Okay.
So if you don't know something, if you're not aware of something, like what I had said earlier, when you don't, because most times you have some feelings and maybe you're just constantly sad. And you don't even, it's a new thing. You can't even speak to anyone around you because they don't understand. They just tell you, snap out of it or something. Or maybe someone doesn't understand that you can't follow a particular path to the farm. They just feel like you're just, and then in some cases they'll say, be a man, not knowing that there's something bigger you're fighting in your head. So having the right information actually helps, because when you have the right information, your brain's able to process thoughts better, to be like, oh, I've lost today, or I need to keep pushing, or right now it's not the very best, but I'll keep pushing and hopefully things will get better.
Thank you so much, Lucia, being founder and executive director of Mental Health for Youth Initiative. But it would be so bad if we leave without even understanding or knowing a little about MHYI, the organization with which you represent. So in very short terms, could you tell us what MHYI do? And let me put you on the spot, if you have had any interventions for farmers.
Okay.
Yes, please.
All right. So Mental Health for Youth Initiative is a non-profit aimed at changing the narrative of mental health in Nigeria, especially for the young people. So if you notice in my conversations, I was tilting more towards the young people.
I wonder the fate of the old people.
Well, it's
don't bother about that.
Yeah, everyone is captured, but the primary focus
is the future of the country.
Exactly.
Yes. Okay, wow. And I must say congrats on the recent launch of your book. Would you want to tell us a little about that?
Oh yeah, so we launched a mental health guide for young people.
Yes, a mental health guide.
With the Federal Ministry of Youth. We hope the plan is to distribute it to every young person in Nigeria. We'll also pay very good attention to the farmers.
Please, by all means, yes, you have highlighted this, and I think it's a pain point that we need to begin to look at, because the more, at GSAI, our mantra is Nigeria, Africa does not need more farmers, we need better farmers. And I think mental health is key to having better farmers in Africa. I hope someone has learned something today. I hope you have picked out something. You have understood the reason for that your failure, or the reason for that your constant sadness and feeling of being maybe discouragement and all of that. You probably may be in a mental health crisis, and you really need to look at it. You really need to begin to confront it headlong. That is all we'll be taking on agriculture for today and tomorrow. You can follow us on social media. We will make a post about this. If you know of other mental health challenges, examples of mental health challenges, or scenarios that farmers have gone through, please drop them in the comment section, and we will continue to interact more. And I'm very certain that after now, we will have a conversation with the Mental Health for Youth Initiative people, and we should be able to come up with an intervention for farmers. Of course, they're already federal now, so we of course will be able to reach farmers across the nation. Thank you so much for viewing today's episode. Remember, I am Daniel Black, and here we promote smart solutions for greener harvest. See you in the next episode.
In the heart of our fields lies the future of agriculture, sustainable, innovative, and powered by smart solutions. From the rich soil of Africa to high-tech farms around the globe, agriculture is evolving to meet the demands of tomorrow. At the intersection of tradition and technology, we discover